In this video we are going to study a very simple Android application called MovingBall. We will study how to make the layout of the user interface with XML, and we will study how we can make a custom view to the application. And you can find this application when you first go to naturalprogramming.com and you select this Android icon, and here is a link to these simple Android applications, and the MovingBall application is there. So actually the whole Android project is here, and if you click this folder name, you will see all the folders that are typically in Android applications, and through this app folder you can go to source folder, and there you will find the Java folder and res folder. So those folders contain the important files or the files that the programmers make. And for instance, in this Java folder you will find first a moving and ball subfolders, and there you have two Java files. So the first Java files is MovingBall activity.java, and here in comments you will see that what are the files that make this application. So there is MovingBall activity.java and MovingBall view.java and activity movingball.xml, color selection menu.xml and strings.xml. So if we want to make this application then operate locally on our computer, we have to copy all these files and we have to specify some things in the project. So we have to specify the name of the application, and we have to specify, for instance, this package name that is in use, and we also have to specify that what is the name of the main class of the application, and in this case it is called MovingBall activity. So let's see that how we can do this. So I have already the Android Studio here open, and I will now start a new Android Studio project. And let's see, I will select this empty activity and I say next. And here I have to give information about the project. So the name of the application I will say, well, MovingBall. I don't have an application with this name, and this package name is important now. And I will write here moving.ball. This name must be the same as is in use in the Java file. So this is all that this Android Studio is asking, and it creates the project there. That's okay for me, and the language I use is Java, and the API level is 24. So I click finish. So now it takes a little bit time before the project is fully created. And one thing we didn't specify when I made this project was the name of the main activity. So what the present version of the Android Studio does is that it automatically creates an activity with the name main activity. But this doesn't suit to me, because in my application the name of the main activity is MovingBall activity. So somehow I have to tell this Android Studio project that the name of my activity class is MovingBall activity, and I can do this. I can actually close this. I can do this by modifying a file called androidmanifest.xml. So this Android manifest.xml, it is a file that tells the very fundamental things about an application, and the Android Studio automatically creates this file for its application. So here is the name of the main activity, and it is now main activity, but I can modify it, and I say moving ball activity. It must be exactly the same as the name in my Java file, and after I have created this, I can then download the files from the web project and place them inside this local project. So I go to the browser, and I will then right click these files and save link as. And I have to select here my MovingBall project, and there I have to select this app, and there I have to select this source and main and Java and moving and ball. And I will store this file now into this folder. So the Java files must be now in that folder, and I also store this other Java file to the same folder, like this. And you can see that the main activity.java that was created by Android Studio is still there. Well, I could delete that, but I can also leave it there. So I will store this other file there as well. So the Java files are now stored. And I have to go back in this hierarchy of folders to find these so-called resource files. And here is the layout subfolder, and there is this activity moving ball, and I have to put it into the corresponding folder in the local project. So I say save link as, and I select here the resource folder and layout, and there is the place for this file. So there are two more files to download, so I'll go back. So there is this menu here. I again select this color selection menu with the right mouse button, and I say save link as, and now I go back here, and here is the problem that the menu folder doesn't exist, but I can very simply create the folder there, like this. So now the menu folder is there, and I will put this file there. Well, there's still one more file to copy, and that is then in the values folder, and that's called strings.xml, and I will save it to the same folder here in the local project. And I replace the existing strings.xml. So what I have done now, I have modified this project, the manifest file, so that moving ball activity is the name of the main activity, and I have now copied the files from the web. So now I should be able to run this project, but first I would like to say that if you are using an older version of Android Studio, I'm now using the 3.3 version. In the older Android Studio, the Studio asks, when you create the project, it asks the name of the main activity, and then you can give this name moving ball activity when you are creating the project, and you don't have to modify the Android manifest file. Okay, but let's see that if this project can be run. I'm using the existing emulator here. Now it takes a little bit time, compilation and all things. Let's hope that everything goes well. Well, we have to wait a little bit, but it shouldn't take very long. It says installing APKs, it says launching activity. And now the MovingBall application is running here. So this application, what is it does? It has 4 buttons, and with this button you can move the ball to the left. With this button you can move it down. With this button you can move it up. With this you can move it right. Well, it is a somewhat dull application, but if you press this button a longer time, then you can change the color of the ball, and then you can move it again. And actually there are another possibility to modify the color. So in some Android devices there is this options button, and you can get the menu from there as well, and you can change the color of the button. So there are 2 kinds of menus here, and then there are the buttons. And well, I will now open these files or the files of the application to another editor, the Sublime text editor, because it's easier to see the files there. So I will say file and open, and I have to find this application, MovingBall and app and source and main and Java and moving and ball. So there is the MovingBall activity. I open it. I will also open this other Java file, the MovingBall view.java, and I will open also the resource files. So there is the resource subfolder and layout, and there is the activity movingball.xml, and I will open the in the menu subfolder. There is this color selection menu.xml, and the 5th file was this strings.xml that is located in the values subfolder. Okay, so now I have all files of this application open here, and this activity movingball.xml, then that specifies the main user interface of this application. So you can see here that there is this linear layout in use and another linear layout here. So I have made this drawing. Let's take a look at this drawing. I have made this drawing here that so the whole application looks like this, and this is now vertical. So there is vertical linear layout and inside the vertical linear layout we have this moving ball view, and then we have a horizontal linear layout there. So if we take a look at this code, so there is linear layout that starts here and ends here, and inside this linear layout we have this moving ball view, and we have another linear layout. And but this other linear layout, this is horizontal, but the main linear layout is vertical. And we have these funny numbers here like 0.9 and 0.1. So these numbers describe the layout weight. It's not very important what are the actual values of the numbers, but the important thing is that what is their relation. As this number is 9 times bigger than this, it happens then that here 10% is then occupied by this horizontal linear layout, and 90% is then occupied by the moving ball view. And also, so there is this moving ball view. So this is now our own class. So we have here a file called MovingBallView.java, and here we have a class named MovingBallView, and that is derived from the standard view class. But here we can specify it like this, and the system automatically then creates an object of this MovingBallView class, and we don't have to actually create that object in the Java code. And then there is this other linear layout, horizontal linear layout, and there we have 5 buttons. So there is button 1, button 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now each button has an ID, and each button has a text and here this is now the less than character, because we have to show this character we have to describe it in this way, because this character is now part of this XML, so we can't use it as a character, because this character has certain meaning in XML, and to use that character in the text we now have to describe it in this way. So each button has an ID, its left button, it has the text, and then this is important, there is this on click property, left button clicked. So this means that now a method named left button clicked will be called when this button is clicked, and this left button clicked is then now in this MovingBall activity.java file. So you can find a method like left button clicked, and for each button there is an own method that is called when the buttons are clicked. And for each of these buttons there is this layout weight is set to 1, and that means that it now each button has the same width in this application. We could actually modify this a little bit, so that because this doesn't look very good, so that because all the buttons are on the same row and all the texts do not fit into this one row or on the buttons. So we could actually make 2 rows of these buttons. So if we make this moving ball view, if we make that space a little bit smaller, 80%, then we could easily use 2 linear layouts there. So I will make a copy of this linear layout. I will make a copy. And then I will paste it here. I will paste it there. So I have now 2 linear layouts inside this 1 linear layout, and I take something out. So on the upper linear layout I take the left button out, and the down button I take them out. And I let the up button and the color button stay there. And I will, on the lower linear layout, I leave, or I take the up button out, and I take the color button out. So now 3 buttons are on the lower linear layout and 2 buttons are on the upper linear layout. Let's see if this works. So I will save the file and I will recreate the application in Android Studio. So it is possible to modify the files outside the Android Studio and then use the Studio to create the new version of the application. Again, we have to wait a little bit, but now you can see that there are 2 buttons in the upper row, and these buttons, they just work as before, but they are now in different positions on the screen. And actually it would look better, this would look better if the up button would be right above the down button. So there is a possibility to create some space here, or empty space. So let's do that. So in Android I can actually use a thing called space object. So if I would put some empty space here, I could then move the up button right above the down button. So let's do, I will copy this up button like this. So I will copy it and I will paste it, but I will modify it so that I use a thing called space, or I put the space object here. And now I can take these texts out like this. So now there would be an empty space that will fill the place there, but this space doesn't really do anything. So I will again save the thing and let's see how it looks. Okay, it takes a little bit of time again. But now there is empty space there. But still everything works as before. if you do the exercises with this application, you can put the reset button there. Okay, so that's the main XML file. And let's take a look at these other files there. So there is this color selection menu here, color selection menu.xml. So that just specifies the menu. It's very straightforward. So if we activate the menu here, so you can see that there is red, white, yellow, green, and so on. So in here we have these menu items, and each item has an ID, and each item has a title. And now these titles, they, for instance, this title here refers to strings.xml and a text called red there. So the actual names of the colors, they are specified then here in the strings.xml. So for instance, if we take a look at the strings.xml, you can see that there is, for instance, this blue, name blue, has value uppercase blue with the uppercase letters, and name green has value green with the uppercase letters. And here is the blue, so we refer to this color with the name, or this strings with the name blue there. So I think that shouldn't be so difficult to understand. Okay, let's take a look then at this MovingBall activity.java. So this is now the main activity, or the main program of the application. And always these Android applications, they have this onCreate method that is called when the activity is created, and there we usually call the super class, and then we set the content view, and the content view is now this activity MovingBall. So this now refers to the activity MovingBall.xml, and in practice this means now that the XML file specifies what is shown on the screen. And here we take references to the MovingBall view, the object. So here we use this find view by ID. So we take a reference to the MovingBall view, and we save it into this data field. And then we take a reference to the color button, and we say that we register the button for the context menu. And through this operation we can then, it's then possible to get this context menu when you press the button for a long time. So then there are the methods for each button press, and we always call a method in the MovingBall view class, and we move the button to some direction. And then we have these two methods, onCreateOptions menu and onCreateContext menu. So these are the methods that the system automatically calls when the menus are used for the first time. So they are created here. The menus are created here according to this XML file, and then there are separate methods that are called automatically when the menu selections are made. So for instance, in this context menu, so this method is called when a selection is made, and then we just get an item ID, and then we call another method process menu selection, and that does the actual processing of the selected color. And actually both of these methods, same method is called to process the actual color selection. So here we refer to this, that what item was selected, and then we set the ball color, or we call the method to set the actual ball color. Okay, that was then the activity class, and then we have this MovingBall view.java, that is our own view. So we have two data fields, ball center point X and center point Y, and we have the ball color. We have a couple of constructors, and in this onSize changed we can set the ball center point X and Y, and then we have these methods that move the ball to the left or down or up or right, or we can set the ball color. And here the system works so that we always call this invalidate method. So invalidate method tells the operating system that this view is no longer valid and it must be updated, and then the operating system automatically calls this method onDraw. So this onDraw method is not called by ourselves, but the operating system calls it automatically, and with this invalidate call we can ask the operating system to call the onDraw method. And in this drawing we use the paint objects, and we use the color. In the paint we can set the color, and we can set that it is filling, and then we use these canvas methods, draw circle, to draw the ball, and we say what is the center point of the ball and what is the radius of the ball and what kind of paint we must use. So the outline paint is always black, but the filling paint is the color that is selected. And then we use the draw text method to draw the coordinates to the upper left corner of the screen or the view area. These coordinates, they always refer to or they are calculated from the upper left corner of the view, so that, for instance, these coordinates 2020, it means that 20 points to the right and 20 points downwards, they are the coordinates. Well, I think this is now explained. I think that all files have been processed here, so I thank you for your attention, and we'll meet in some other video.